What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/NuclearRevenge, the subreddit for those who take their revenge to the most extreme of lengths. This first post is by Fitness Gram Pacer Beep. Guy behind me in traffic was blinding me in traffic with his high beams, so I violated his retinas with the full force of an afternoon sun. I was driving home from work and traffic was backed up pretty badly for a few miles. It was stop and go. When I get stuck in that, I'll usually back about 70 feet off the car in front of me so that I can hold a pace and move at a slow but constant roll like the semi-trucks do. This way, I'm not participating in the bumper-to-bumper move and brake like the rest of the smooth brain drivers. Some dude in an Acura crossover was right behind me, and I guess he was getting upset because I wasn't 2 feet from the car in front of me driving like a smooth brain. So he gets up on my butt and starts beeping his horn at me. Lol, I think to myself as I turn up my radio. But then he starts flashing his brights at me, which is where I get annoyed. He's in one of those Acuras that has the super bright LED headlights. My car is much lower than his, so his low beams are already pretty bright in my mirrors. Bright enough that I don't want to look in them. The first time he flashed his high beams, it put spots in my vision for a moment. It genuinely hurt my eyes. After the first flash, he waits about 10 seconds, beeps his horn, and then flashes me again. Now, I'm getting peed. I'm thinking, where the F do you want me to go? Do you really think being 2 feet from the car in front of you will make traffic move faster? Then he flashes me a third time, but this time he held them on for about 15 seconds. Time for the gloves to come off. During those 15 seconds, as I'm looking away from my mirrors, I see my 14,000 lumen searchlight sitting in my passenger seat, at which I'm immediately overcome by a wave of chaotic lawful excitement. What he has just set in motion cannot be stopped. I think to myself, oh buddy, you just opened the wrong can of worms, you're gonna learn today. I grabbed the flashlight and set it to its absolute max 14,000 lumen brightness setting. The flashlight has a sensor in it to automatically dim the light if facing down on a table, because otherwise the diodes would get so hot they would melt the lens. The 14,000 lumen setting is so intense, the 57 watt-hour battery can only hold it for 180 seconds before the flashlight automatically notches down to a measly 9,500 lumens. During those 180 seconds, the light will burn through 15% of its battery power. For reference on just how bright this is, the literal effing sun emits luminosity of 11,000 lumens per square foot on a bright and clear day. I turn around and aim it straight out the back of my rear window. My car is pretty noisy, so before I turn it on, I rev up my engine to make sure Captain Smoothbrain is eyes forward when I violate his retinas with the full force of an afternoon sun. I hit the power button and can only imagine the freight train of shock and pain that plowed over this man. It was so bright. His automatic headlights shut off because the car thought it was daytime. With the light on, I could see him clear as glass through his tinted windshield. He was covering his eyes and looking down, probably screaming. I watched him try to flip down his sun visor, but his hand couldn't hold it, as I thought to myself, "Burn, you mother effer, burn!" I imagine my facial expression was similar to that of a 6-year-old roasting insects with a magnifying glass on a bright summer day. After about 5 seconds of blinding light, I took mercy and shut it off. He proceeded to back way the heck off and move over to a different lane. Was this an unsafe thing for me to do? Absolutely. Was this illegal? Almost certainly. Was it warranted? Without question. Possibly the highlight of my year. Drive safe and don't be a D to the car in front of you, because they might just have the tools to teach you a lesson. This next post is by eDale1. Favorite teacher gets wrongfully fired, so I get 75% of the staff arrested. I'll start off by saying this happened to my sister and the actions taken were hers. My sister has always gotten along very well with her teachers and has a habit of forming actual friendships with them, to the point that she still talks to her 5th grade English teacher, along with many others, decades later. This happened about 15 years ago. My sister was a student at Job Corps, a government-run, live-on-campus vocational training program, studying hotel/motel management. She got on extremely well with her hotel/motel management teacher, better than pretty much every teacher she'd already had up to that point. One day, the teacher goes to the Center Dean's office and walks in on a paper shredding session. It turns out that there was some pretty major embezzling happening at the center, as in more than 60% of the funds for the center were being stolen. The teacher was appalled, and despite some rather lucrative offers made, refused to join in on these acts. Less than a week later, the teacher was fired for trumped up reasons. This was especially bad, given the teacher was only 2 years away from retiring, and being fired lost their retirement package. Needless to say, my sister was peed. Knowing how things typically work, and that almost any report she tried to make would just be swept under the rug if it was taken seriously at all, she came up with a plan and took things nuclear. Over the next month or two, my sister managed to gather some basic evidence of the embezzling. Nothing concrete, but enough to warrant considerable investigation by the authorities. She took the little evidence she was able to gather, along with the story of what happened to her teacher, and sent the info in an email to the Job Corps Regional Director. Now, like I said, she knew that her email would be likely ignored or the event swept under the rug, so she got smart. The email was CC'd to every single major person in the Job Corps chain of command, all the way up to the National Director, as well as anyone even tangentially related to the Job Corps in the upper echelons of the Department of Labor, and every member of Congress, as well as the US President's office. Remember, this was a government-run program. All in all, the email was sent to over 2,000 people. Basically, she not only sent the report, but sent it in such a way that everyone who got it could also see everyone else who got it, and she sent it to way more people than would be needed to ensure the issue couldn't be swept under the rug. 2 weeks later, after the investigation finished, never seen the government work so fast on anything that wasn't collecting owed taxes, only 5 or 6 staff members out of the 20-ish that worked in the center still had their jobs, and at least 5 of the ones fired, including the dean, were facing major criminal charges, with the rest facing minor charges. I'm not sure of the exact figure on how much was stolen, but it was well into the 7 digits. The embezzling had been happening for years. The teacher got a very nice severance package post-investigation. If I remember correctly, it was 3 years of pay, her full retirement package, and signing an NDA. Though she didn't get her job back, and my sister was given her completion certificate, despite not having finished the requirements of the course, they wanted her gone, but couldn't kick her out. The top comment reads, "Your sister is awesome." She really and truly is. I've heard enough sad stories about poor little blank whomever lost XYZ because she worked with crooked, abusive knuckleheads. I love NuclearRevenge. And that's why I thought I'd introduce it to the channel, guys. This next post is by Chaotic Low Keen. You want to hit a disabled person? Have fun with 30+ years in jail. Obligatory found this subreddit because of the click real quick. This happened in January, but the district attorney called me 2 days ago with the update. I'm a wheelchair user because of a fainting disorder, severe POTS for those wondering. I came home from work to see a car parked right under a no parking fire lane and on the sidewalk. It blocked the way into my apartment and I had to leave the wheelchair in my car. I started taking photos of the car because this had been an issue for months. My landlord had told me to get photos of it and email them to him every time she did it after I mentioned it in passing. While taking a photo, the owner came out of her apartment to scream at me. I stayed calm and tried to walk into my apartment. She got in my face to continue screaming and by reflex I shoved her back. She then grabbed me by the throat and began to punch me. After a minute, my neighbours and roommate who were having a smoke came running and got her off me. Police were called, paramedics showed up because my neck was bleeding, she had acrylic nails, and I ended up going to the ER because I had a syncope episode while the paramedics were there. I decided to press charges thinking I'd just get an aggravated assault or something. I made sure that they got her while she was home because I knew she had a gun on the wall despite being a convicted felon. When the police went to arrest her, they found that the car was stolen without insurance. She didn't have a license. There was used needles all over the apartment with her 8-year-old child, and the gun was also marked as stolen. Wow. Child is in foster care and she is in jail without bond. The DA said that her child recorded it, she apparently told her to, and it was already ruled as assault because of the overwhelming proof, plus the 7 counts of assault she's gotten in the past 5 years already. Had I gotten her nailed with it outside her home, she would have only got probation since she was a parent, but now she lost her kid, her home, her car, and is going to be in jail for about 30 years or more despite what the state charges her with for the drugs. The top comment reads, "I think justice would be a better word than revenge to describe this, given all the other things that apparently preceded this. I second this notion, but this story warms my cold, blackened heart. That poor kid though. Hopefully their next home is better than their last." So true. I really hope that kid's okay modern day. This next post is by Top Professional 69. My boss suspended me for his negligence, so I ruined his life. For a little context, I work in a vape shop which is already in a rough space due to regulations and laws the government is putting on us. Due to this, we were well aware that certain products we made/sold were highly illegal and enforceable at any time. I, 25M, have been working my job for a little over a year and a half. The owner of the company is the one who hired me, and she was the biggest sweetheart in the world. Unfortunately, she was forced out of her company by her own son. He's the type of person who believes that he is always right, and if you don't agree with him, he would completely ignore you or fire you. He literally forced his mum into retirement by threatening to unalive himself and continues to use that card every time she even says she wants to come visit. Last winter we had a massive snowstorm. Getting to work was rough, but we were told that we had to come anyway. We get there and the snow isn't ploughed from the parking lot because he didn't want to pay the guy to do it, so we had to. Due to the lot being absolutely massive, we couldn't possibly get it done in time for us to help customers. As they came and went, we noticed the snow being patted down into the ground and essentially turning into a slip and slide. Of course he didn't do anything about it, and asked me and another co-worker to clear all the garbage out of the other side of the building. When I did, I slipped and hurt myself. I didn't file for workers' comp, but told them I need to rest myself while at work. The next shift, I sat almost the entire shift, and because I couldn't do anything, I sat on my phone only to get up to help customers. The next day, my manager tells me he got out of a meeting with the owner's son, and I was suspended for a week, 5 shifts. As I'm a college student and rent out an apartment and have car payments, I couldn't afford to lose 5 days of pay. I marched into his office and laid it out that he either fires me so I can collect unemployment or unsuspend me. He told me that neither was happening, and that he was going to use me as an example to the rest of the employees. I was peeved and cursed him out. He doesn't like confrontation, so he shortened my suspension to get me out of the office. He then treated me poorly and singled me out for everything everyone else also does, but I was the only one being punished. Then comes the fact that he wanted to reconcile by forcing me to do handyman work around the place and didn't give me the tools, equipment, or training to do or use any of these objectives. This was the tipping point for me. The revenge. Due to being constantly singled out, I came to learn that everyone else was also unhappy with this fact. I learnt all the dirty secrets about the company, including illegal products, labour violations, tax violations, etc. I used these secrets that I learned to call multiple government agencies, FDA, OSHA, DOL, and report him by name. First, OSHA came and did an inspection on my day off. He told everyone they only cited him for a small violation and he was good other than that. I was obviously getting angry at that, but a few weeks later I got a packet in the mail telling me he got cited for everything and he was getting massive fines. I then get called into the office again with the manager who told me I was suspended. He proceeded to tell my manager that he was getting demoted for not writing me up more and that I was no longer getting my raise until I fixed my attitude. This of course was right after he said, "I don't care that you called OSHA." This little act is known as retaliation, which is illegal to do to people who called a protected agency like OSHA. He refused to even look at me at this point, because if he did anything, that would imply he was punishing me for calling OSHA, and I would have a lawsuit to destroy him. Now to today. Another day off for me, and I get a text from a coworker at 11 AM. That message was, FDA is here, the manager quit and it's crazy. The FDA and IRS came rolling in full force in black trucks and SUVs. They came in and raided the place, seizing all illegal products and all the paperwork pertaining to the business. They're still here as I write this, so hopefully there will be more to come. But knowing how this works out in most cases, I won't have a job much longer and will be on unemployment. Update 1. The ATF also showed up. They confiscated all the house-made juices. We apparently don't have a manufacturing license. None of us knew this, and that means we may no longer be able to sell products. The IRS showed up because there is a possible cause for an investigation into tax evasion. As I learn more, I will continue to update. Update 2. It seems as though talks with the lawyers, the son decided to actually take the heat for all of it, and is going to have to pay massive fines and is possibly looking at jail time. He likely won't ever be able to get a manufacturing license for the rest of his life, and they said essentially that he won't be able to open any new businesses. I know he had 2 new locations rented out and in the process of opening, and those are never going to happen now. They're raiding his other businesses today, and that's going to be interesting considering that if he doesn't have the paperwork for that business, it could lead to much more jail time. So as right now, even though my job isn't shutting down yet, his other business is getting raided, he can't open the 2 locations that he's put an S-ton of money and time into, and he's going to get fined all his worth and possibly go to jail. Final update. Hi guys, so sorry for the long wait for an update. After many long months and tons of setbacks, me and the other guys from my last vape shop have opened our own. We want to do everything the right way and make it a place where people can come and hang out like vape shops used to. It's a 21 plus sober building. We hope to make it a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone and also provide them with safer alternatives to smoking cigarettes and cigars and using dip/chewing tobacco. Not a fan of vaping or smoking, but I'm glad they're doing things the right way this time. And I think that's going to be it guys. I hope you enjoyed the stories in r/NuclearRevenge. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below. And also hit that subscribe button because I post new Reddit content every single day. My name is Trey, this was Reload Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.